Funding now on Indiegogo, it's Shadowbinders, our second chance offer to get 2 hardcovers of our classic webcomic delivered to your door. Steampunk, fantasy, and romantic comedy from Clownfish Comics. Go to Indiegogo, check out the link in the description below. Now on with the video. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
Another day, another Gina Carano video.
Of course.
Gina Carano now getting slammed by Heidi Heitkamp, a senator from North Dakota.
Former senator.
Oh, former senator. Does she do anything now?
She's on a bunch of advisory committees and boards and stuff. But yeah, I'm like,
does she do anything now?
It's really weird though, because Gina Carano's already been fired. Like this has already been over. There's nothing to be gained from it on the surface. So I don't understand why to even do this.
Yeah, she was on the Bill Maher show, and Bill Maher looked very uncomfortable as she called Gina Carano a literal Nazi. Mm-hmm. And he's even like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And she's like, well...
And white supremacist.
And the white supremacist kind of cackling about it. And then she's like, well, she does hang out with those white supremacists. And he's like, wait, you mean like guys in the hoods? Like, it seems like goalpost has moved.
He said, like, it seems like that's been moving, what that means. And he said, like, you mean like, it used to mean someone who in a hood, and now it means, and before he could finish going on anything else, she cut him off again.
She cut him off, yeah.
To slam her. And then after she said it, she even admitted she's probably in trouble for saying it. It's probably defamation or whatever.
Yeah, it actually is making the rounds, saying that, she might have admitted that she knew it was a defamatory remark. So, we have been on the receiving end of being called Yahtzees, and it doesn't mean anything anymore.
Which is what makes me so angry.
Yeah, because it is a very serious thing to throw around. If you actually cared about what happened during World War II, and you actually had sympathy for the Jewish people, you would not be throwing that term around willy-nilly knowing it's not true.
Right. But before we get into it further,
please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 184,000 subs. Thank you so much for the support. This is coming from piratesandprincesses.net, which is one of our websites. And WDW Pro put this up last night.
Yes. And I wouldn't watch the video clip. And yeah, Bill Maher did look very uncomfortable. He's like, oh shit,
Well, look, Bill Maher has said some stuff that's made the rounds in media. I remember, after 9/11, he said some things he probably shouldn't have said, and that made the rounds. He's actually been kind of railing against cancel culture lately.
Which I'm against cancel culture.
And, he was even kind of like, the look on his face was kind of like, would you please not say that on my show?
And he tried to offset, like, well, what's that even mean anymore? And he's not wrong, because it used to mean something, and now it's nebulous. It's a nebulous way to insult people who don't vote the way you vote, basically.
Yeah.
And I want to take a minute about, like, the throwing around the term Yahtzee and stuff, Nazi all the time. I'm so sick of hearing about it, because it's so disrespectful. Not just being called that, because it's a vile thing to call somebody, but it's so disrespectful to the actual victims of the Holocaust, because the stuff was so terrible what happened, and then to use it because someone doesn't vote the way you want to vote is just barbaric and insulting on multiple levels. And those who keep throwing it around because you don't like what I like, so you're literally a Nazi. You people are just trash, because it's douchey and it's belittling, and you're making a mockery of what the word actually meant.
So it's making the rounds in the mainstream media. It's not just, limited to like right-wing blogs or whatever. Newsweek put an article up about it last night too. Bill Maher again, talking about how he didn't want to talk about cancel culture and this nonsense every week, but I don't think people understand how much this is a tsunami and how fast the goalposts change almost on a weekly basis.
Exactly.
You can be canceled for literally anything. And then she's sitting there on the couch cackling away like, well, Gina Carano's a Nazi, right? And he's like, what? And it's like, oh, wow, she hangs out with white supremacists. He's like, whoa. Like, thank you for proving my point.
Right.
Woman,
and what Gina Carano said, if you actually look at what she said, and this is proving her point. She basically said that what happened, because everybody asked, how did this happen in Nazi Germany? How do people stand by and watch their neighbors be hauled off? That's a question a lot of people ask. And if you study history, which they try to just, make people not study history now because you don't want you to be enlightened.
It's sad.
Yeah. If if you study it, that is exactly what they did. They did what we're doing now, where they had campaigns against, people where they were like calling them names and belittling them and bullying them and saying, if you did this, you're a bad person. And so people just were desensitized to the idea of people being punished for things like being Jewish. I'm not saying it's the same thing as today, but what I'm saying is the idea is there that they just keep, pushing this narrative until people are desensitized, and then they can get away with things that they wouldn't have gotten away with 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's not to the level of Nazi Germany. I don't think anybody's arguing that it is, but it's a similar technique. And that's what she was saying. She didn't say any party politically either way. She just meant people turning on their neighbors either way. Because I've seen people turn on neighbors even if they vote Democrat. So I think she meant either way. But, it's a very dangerous thing is what she's pointing out. And I agree with her in that regard. It is a very dangerous thing. And they just proved her right. And this woman just went on here and proved her right yet again.
Yeah, I mean, for Bill Maher to be kind of taken aback by it is like, whoa, and just so flippant, too. I mean, we see this on Twitter, too. It's just such a flippant usage of the term. Gina Carano did respond. And she said, here we have more of the dehumanizing phase of cancel culture. Repeat lies over and over until the population takes them as truth. False, disturbing, and disgusting language coming from a former U.S. senator. You knew as soon as you said it, you were liable, and people are calling out that, she might have opened herself up to a court case.
She probably did. She even admitted she probably did. And here's the thing, you'd expect better. That's the thing is people that are elected officials, one, you work for the people. I don't know why they keep thinking that they are their own entity and that you have to do what they say, when in reality, it's the other way around. But you should be held to a higher standard. You're held to a higher standard. You shouldn't make comments like this. It was belittling. It was, it shouldn't be beneath you to make these kind of comments. And then again, why are they so effing afraid of Gina Carano that she's been fired? This is weeks later and they're still going on about it. Why are they so afraid of her that they had to do that? I don't understand. Why now?
Yeah, because I think she's become a martyr. It's like, Disney or Lucasfilm or whoever actually made the decision. I'm more inclined to think it's people at Lucasfilm.
Mm-hmm. Given Kathleen Kennedy, probably.
Yeah. And her story group cronies and the social media managers that work underneath that hierarchy, they created a conservative martyr because a lot of people looked at what she said and she's like, maybe she should have worded it differently, but this wasn't really a cancelable offense.
Even Forbes is calling it out. And now Newsweek and these people are calling it out. Yeah. Look, strike me down and I'll be more powerful than you can imagine.
And that's exactly what's going to happen.
Should have learned that. Star Wars, come on.
And then, on top of everything else, they've ignored the character Cara Dune. They've canceled the action figures. We didn't really do a separate video talking about it, but Disney Plus supposedly are cutting Gina Carano out of upcoming appearances on altogether. They're like washing their hands of the situation. I mean, there were so many better ways that they could have dealt with this other than just firing her finding out that she was fired via social media and then canceling any reference to this character at all, and then getting mad and playing the victim card when the fan base revolts on YouTube and whatever. Like, oh my God, we're being harassed by Nazis.
And it's like, but these people have spent years prior to this calling anybody who doesn't like a cartoon show they like a Nazi, calling anybody who doesn't, vote the way they wanted to a Nazi, calling anyone who had any difference of opinion to them on anything a Nazi or fascist. But meanwhile, that there's some fascist behavior going on, but it's the ones that are out there pointing fingers. We actually aren't Republicans before people are like, this guy here, Republican. We're not, which is, we're looking at this as people that are just watching the situation and trying to be fair. It's very troubling. Yeah, and I had a relative who cleaned out a concentration camp, okay? He would never speak of it because it was so terrible and tragic, he couldn't even talk about it. He would never, ever, ever, even his worst enemy, somebody who he loathed, call them a Nazi as an insult because to him there was nothing worse than that. And it just shows clearly how these people are so far removed from history that they can use something like that as a, you didn't like the color purple because you're a Nazi. It's so sad and it shows how uneducated and vile people are becoming.
Yeah, so there was a rumor here that she's not going to be in this episode of Running Wild with Bear Grylls on Disney Plus either. That they're just wiping her from
ridiculous
existence. I mean, this is insane and it's blowing up.
And it's bad too because there's a lot of little girls. Gina Carano aside, Cara Dune was still a fantastic character done right. Fennec Shand, Cara Dune, they're characters that are done well. Strong female characters that are the actual should be held up to the standard of strong female characters, not Rey. Okay, yeah. These were actually done in a way that was done really well, and they were fantastic characters who are more than just I'm a woman. And so that Gina Carano aside, even though I don't think anything she said warranted what happened. Her aside, the character is still a very, very good character. And a lot of people look up to the character and they're just trying to erase the character. To me, that just seems like throwing the baby out with bathwater.
The baby Yoda.
Yeah, throwing the Grogu out with the bathwater. On this one, which, side note real quick. Hey, if you have those baby Yoda hand sanitizers, they're done by, if you have the Best Brands consumer products, Baby Yoda hand sanitizers, you might want to throw those out with the bathwater, because apparently an independent study done by Valisure found that they have elevated levels of benzene in them. Benzene is a carcinogen that can cause blood disorders like leukemia. So if you have those, you might want to not use them or keep the case and throw out the hand sanitizer, because they're actually Disney had told the company making them to stop selling them for now. There hasn't been a recall that I'm aware of, but they have dangerous levels of a human carcinogen in it. So you might want to throw away your hand sanitizer with the bathwater, and you can keep the little Yoda case though. You could probably find one that doesn't, isn't toxic to put inside it.
Oh my God, Disney Star Wars will literally give you cancer.
But, they said that you'd have to use a lot of it, but if you're using it every day, that it's bad. Now, there were other products. These ones, of course, number one being Art Naturals, which we had bought not knowing. These are the ones that are the worst. Mandalorian is number 6 on the list of being the worst. It's twice the amount of limits of the limited levels should be in there.
The Cream Shop. Where do you buy that?
I don't know, but
I wouldn't buy anything from the Cream Shop.
That was a side note. I thought I'd just add that to the video because, it's not a whole video to itself, but if you have these hand sanitizers, they're going to do an independent study with Disney, and the FDA is looking into it right now as well. So you can find that article for more information on piratesandprincesses.net. Back to the story, which it kind of related, and it wasn't a whole video unto itself, so I thought I'd just put it in this one.
Yeah, so this is, again, just kind of insane that everybody's still talking about it as much as they are, and that we've got former U.S. senators flipping out, but just the way she did it, it was just such an offhand, like a very casual use of
it didn't, like we use this every day. We talk about it every day.
They do on Twitter.
It's horrible.
It doesn't mean anything anymore. It's
just, she said, I suppose I'm now subject to defamation.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. He just flat out went on a big show and said she was a Nazi.
A literal Nazi and a white supremacist.
And her original comment was not one that made her Nazi, any more than Pedro Pascal flat out equating Republicans to, the South and Confederacy and Nazis.
Yeah.
Did. So she did nothing worse than other people that are on the show have already done. Actually, hers had a point, and she never made it political. She never said which political party. She just said people are turning on their neighbors based on politics, and that works both ways. I've seen it both ways. That's all she said. They were having a fit about her before because they said that she was against trans people. And that they also didn't include the fact that she was not against trans people. She actually told them that she supported them putting their pronouns in their bio, but she wasn't going to do that because she's against bullying and that she backs them up for doing that. And to which they called her all kinds of horrible, vile names. I'm sure Nazi was probably one of them, but they called her all kinds of horrible things, and then said she was a transphobe. Meanwhile, I want to point out that there's a lot of other people that work at Lucasfilm that do not have pronouns in their bio, yet they are not being canceled for being against trans people. That
is true. That is very true. So they have a hate boner for Gina Carano, for sure. And I think it is because they inadvertently martyred her. They created their own worst enemy.
And why bring that up now? It just doesn't make sense. But cancel culture is wrong.
Yeah.
His face was priceless when she went. He was like, what?
That look throughout the whole thing.
He totally tried to diffuse it.
Yeah.
He's like, well, white supremacy is kind of nebulous term. It used to mean somebody in a hood. Now it's a sliding term or moving term. I forget how he worded it. And then before he could finish what he was saying, she cut him off again and just kept going. And it's like, shut up. Shut up.
Yeah, there she is, just so like,
Giving redheads a bad name.
Ha ha, she's a Nazi. It's so funny.
And then she made other comments about other people not being able to read.
Yeah.
Clearly, there's some, if we're to mock people's intelligence, I would say, I don't think she's of a high intelligence to go on a TV show and say this stuff. She's not exactly, that didn't scream, look, I'm superior intellectually to all of you. That just screamed like, I made a mistake. Oops, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, he's
too late.
He was just like, what the hell did you just do? So shout out to YetiCast for putting that clip up, by the way. It's been making the rounds. But yeah, this is very, very typical. It's very typical. And more and more people are going to push back. We're getting more and more people on the left that are pushing back against it because, like he said, it's a tsunami. And once it begins, it'll sweep up everybody, regardless of whether or not you're guilty or innocent. And it's all going to be under the guise of being for your own good, getting rid of problematic people for your own good.
Yeah, but who decides whose own good it's for? That's the problem. When it's leaned to one side, that needs to be balanced, and it's not balanced, and that's the issue. And plus, I don't think cancel culture should happen no matter what. But there's got to be some kind of balance here that we do not have. Irony. I looked at what her platforms are for things at Senator, and a lot of things I actually, have similar views on as she does. Not everything, obviously, but there's a lot of things that she has some stances on that I agree with. Now, she also is one of the ones that were behind, the deregulation of letting banks deregulate and do things they shouldn't do. She was one of the people behind that too. Oh. But there are a lot of things I don't agree with her on, but there are several things I do. And she would say I was a Yahtzee. Yeah,
it was really interesting because actually a lot of her positions, I would assume.
You look too?
Yeah, I would assume she was a Republican.
Yes.
Or a moderate Republican.
Or like in the middle. There are some things I agree with her on.
Is it deflection? She's got people calling her out saying she's not liberal enough. So she's like, well, I'm just going to call Gina Carano a Nazi.
But, I don't agree with her on this because I don't think anything Gina Carano said or did warranted this way that they've been treating her. I don't believe anything she said or did should make her, completely deleted. If they delete her off of the Star Wars movie, or if they take Mandalorian down because of Cara Dune or whatever, I'm going to be really irritated because they still have all the Johnny Depp movies up.
Yeah.
I don't believe they took down all the episodes on Andy Mack with her dad/grandpa on it after there was child issues.
Yeah, the Andy Mack, which was pretty popular on the Disney Channel, the guy that played the dad/grandpa turned out that he was a creep. He was a pedo. And I don't think they pulled the episodes down.
I don't know if they have warnings on them or anything. I don't look.
Well, I mean, most people aren't going to know. That's the thing. Same with Gina Carano. Now they kept her up on the Mandalorian. I guarantee you, if they thought they could deep fake her out of the show, somebody at Lucasfilm would totally do it. Mm-hmm. But we've already seen that fans can deepfake better than actual Lucasfilm.
Well, that's true. That doesn't take much. But at the end of the day, it's like this whole idea. This is way after the fact. It wasn't necessary. Plus, this idea that we have to just remove people from movies and shows just because they politically differ from you is just ridiculous. And it's gotten to this point that they have an ex-senator on a show calling Gina Carano, literally calling her a Nazi.
Yeah.
Because she didn't like what she didn't agree with what she agreed with or whatever. That at the end of the day. I mean, I can't even imagine. So
yeah, well, this is the world we live in. It's insane. I think it's going to get worse. I thought 2021 because we had a change in power, maybe people would calm down. And if anything, I think it's actually emboldened some people. Mm-hmm. Like, well, we got rid of Trump, so let's get rid of the rest of them too. But then that's a very large net you're casting because you're talking like half the population of the U.S.
Yeah.
So good luck with that.
Yep.
Good luck with that. And the part you're going after, well, they're the ones that are pro-gun too. So.
Well, she is too. Heidi Heitkamp.
Yeah,
is pro-gun
she is.
too.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's strange because to me, if I just looked at her policies, I would think she was a moderate Republican. Mm-hmm. So like I'm saying, is this like deflection? Like, well, don't look at me, look at her. All right, guys. So we're gonna wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.